Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, one of the best books that I've read this year is Subscribed: Why the Subscription Model Will Be Your Company's Future and What to Do About It. Because consumers and businesses are all increasingly signing up for more subscription services now, covering everything from streaming video, music to software. And customers often prefer the product experience over actual ownership, which fascinates me. And here are two examples that hammer home that point. 5 to 10 years ago, the office that I'm sat in here now talking to you from would have had shelves all over the wall full of video games, DVDs, albums, CDs, lots of physical stuff just gathering dust. But now all them shelves have been emptied, we don't have any of those physical items anymore, and we access that same content but immediately on demand from Spotify, Amazon, Apple and Netflix and co. And when I combine that with the fact a few months ago there was a big Apple announcement where they never announced any products, all they announced was more subscription services. And there are so many other subscription services available now. There's secret flight clubs that will charge you a few dollars a month that you don't miss to access flight sales, and there's audiobook services as well. And if we take the flight sales example, nobody misses $3 a month, but if you've got 100,000 people, it becomes quite a lucrative business. So as someone that hears about stuff like this, I think about it more and more. And also ask myself, what should I be doing about it? But as soon as you look a little deeper into it, you're left with big problems such as billing, PCI compliance, and so many other areas that just create headaches. But then I came across a company that removes all of those problems, and the company's called ChargeB, and they automate revenue operations of high-growth subscription-based businesses. And its SaaS platform helps businesses manage and grow their revenue by automating subscriptions, billing, invoicing, payments, and revenue recognition processes. So I felt compelled to find out more and if it really is that easy. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Chennai in India, where Chargebee CEO Krish is actually waiting to tell the story of how 4 friends set out to build a company together and are now enjoying fantastic success in the subscription economy. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Krish. Can you tell the listeners a little about Chargebee, where you're based, and what your company's mission is?
Thank you for having me on the show. So Chargebee is subscription management and recurring billing for SaaS and SaaS-like businesses. We are a C Corp Delaware company in USA and Chennai, but 4 of us founders started this out of Chennai, so Chennai is home for us.
Now, Chargebee does participate in the reoccurring billing and subscription management marketplace. But I've got to ask, why do you think there is such rapid growth in this market at the moment?
If you think about it, it's very natural that everybody wants to move into some kind of a recurring revenue, right? Because our behavior is changing, right? We like to use pay-as-you-go models like Uber and all kinds of services. And that shift is also happening in the way we consume most of the other things, right? Because we all prioritize experiences over ownership in some sense, I would say, which means that businesses are also on a stable ground to build some kind of a recurring revenue model, because nobody wants to start at zero and then hope that I will get enough customers to sustain my business, right? So in my mind, pretty much everybody is moving towards some kind of a subscription model in terms of businesses, which means that any infrastructure that enables this. So the way Chargebee is built is to act as an infrastructure for these subscription businesses, which is why we see this rapid growth where our customers grow and we are a derivative of our business, our customers' business, which means that we also grow. This market is growing.
I'm reading a book at the moment called The Subscription Economy, and there really does seem to be a huge shift around subscription models now. A few months ago, even Apple announced not new products, but new subscriptions. It really seems to be capturing every industry, doesn't it?
It does, right? A case in point I keep talking about is even a small restaurant business operates. right? If you think about a small restaurant which is heavily dependent on feet on street, people walking into the restaurant. 10 years back, they would not have imagined having even a website, right? But today, these businesses are on Uber Eats. They have to manage reviews on Google Maps, and they also need to manage it on so many other places. Instagram, they are also on Pinterest. And if you think about all these things, suddenly there is an explosion of software apart from just serving customers who are coming in and serving them good food, right? And the price at which these businesses are now operating is for all this online software is extremely low, like a $10 or $20, sometimes most of the time free, compared to $100,000 kind of software implementation in the old world, right? I think the shift in the capital costs shifting to operational expenses and the explosion of software, I think is a combination of things that is just driving all of these changes where there are more and more of us consuming all kinds of software as well as building subscription businesses. Yeah. It's a consumer change and a business change.
No, I completely agree with you. And often on any tech articles or tech podcasts, we often talk about the technology and the solution. That's the star of the show. But on this tech podcast, I always try and explore the very human elements and the human stories behind those companies. And I understand that you are one of 4 co-founders of ChargeB. So I've got to ask, what was the inspiration behind ChargeB? And can you tell us a little bit more about how you and your partners founded the company and the story behind that?
You don't mind a cheesy story, right?
Yeah, I love cheesy stories. That's why I do this every day.
Yeah, so I did my Bachelor's of Engineering in Computer Science, right? And one of my co-founders was my classmate during engineering days. And he went on to work at a product company. You might have heard of them, Zoho.
Yeah.
Right. So he joined them as a product engineer and worked there for over 10 years. And my all 3 co-founders are from Zoho journey, right, for over 10 to 12 years. And I started my career as a software engineer in a very small company, and then went on to work for Fortune 500 customers, implementing large-scale software for them. But from so I'm talking about 2001, 2002 timeframe. And at that time, one of our inspiration was one Zoho journey of how they were building this bootstrap company out of Chennai, but serving customers globally. And they have millions of customers around the world serving small and medium scale businesses. And we also used to read blogs, very popular blogs. And one of those used to be Joel Spolsky's blog called joelonsoftware.com. Right. So this company, these are the makers of Trello and Stack Overflow, Stack Exchange, and all of that. And we know them by this product called Trello today. But at that time, in 2002, they used to create this product called Fog Creek software, which used to create a bug tracking software. Right? It doesn't get any boring than that in software industry to create a bug tracking software. Right? But they used to talk about this as founders, as to how they were passionately building a company and learning and growing with the company by getting chairs out of the way. So smart people can come in and solve interesting problems for customers. And that spark was something that we just latched on to for a very long time. So for over 8 or 9 years, I don't remember when Rajaraman, my co-founder, told me, just keep saving money, right? Here is how compound interest works, right? I just want you to keep aside whatever you're earning, keep aside some part of the money. At some point, we'll quit and start up. And I just took that input, and then we always used to, any increment, any bonus, I used to just keep it aside as much as possible. And we were just saving up our nest egg to quit and start a business at some point. Right? And fast forward 8-9 years, in 2011, we quit and started based on our 10 years of savings. We could take a chance to try and build a company. But basically the idea was we wanted to learn to build a business. Right? And for us, the inspiration of, okay, it actually changes you when you actually learn how to create value by building a business was basically the inspiration. And we didn't care about which idea we wanted to build, right? For us, it was team first. We said, okay, we are going to quit and start a company, and then we just quit because cloud was taking off, subscription business model was taking off, and we wanted to solve a globally relevant problem. And we had the technical chops to build something on our own. So we said, we'll do it, and then we just took over the apartment of one of the co-founders, put a screen in between and said, okay, so that side is your home, this side is our office, kicked him to the other side of the apartment. And we just said, okay, we'll start building it. And at that time, we looked at 2, 3 ideas. And one of those ideas is subscription management and billing. And we said, okay, so somebody's solving this in the enterprise side, which is Zuora, and maybe Oracle SAP will come into it later. But then there is a huge market where every small company from the smallest of companies, which is just getting started, needs this component to send recurring invoices to customers. And that's a good problem to solve. So we just started doing it. And we have now fallen in love with the problem. Like what started as a team first thing to learn how to build a business, you obsess about the problem more and more, you fall in love with the problem. That has happened over the last 7 years now.
What a great story. And here we are, of course, in 2019, and Chargebee is experiencing great success. But for people hearing about it for the first time, could you describe your SaaS platform and tell us how it's helping businesses manage and grow their revenue?
Right. I can actually talk about some of our customers, and I think maybe that will help describe this.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure you know Ellen DeGeneres,
Yes.
right, or Tim Ferriss, right? If you go to bekindbyellen.com, right, it's a subscription box, right? There are lots of fans of Ellen who like her as a brand ambassador, right? People are really able to relate to her story. And she has a subscription box service where you subscribe to a box, quarterly subscription. If you go to the subscribe, if you click on the subscribe button, right, what you will see is ChargeB powering this engine, where they ship to USA and Canada a box of goodies based on a quarterly subscription fees. So ChargeB takes care of one, collecting the payment information, your shipping address, billing address, and collecting the tax information, and then generating the tax invoice for the customer, and all of the heavy lifting behind the scenes to drive the subscription business is managed by ChargeB, right? All the way from the checkout page. Right? Similarly, Tim Ferriss has a similar service where he's experimenting with his podcast as a subscription service, and ChargeB powers it. And there are lots of SaaS businesses around the world where we do it. So basically, what we do is we manage your customer base with all the way through the entire life cycle of the subscriptions, generating the monthly or quarterly or annual invoices, collecting the money automatically from the businesses and putting that directly into the bank of the business, and take care of the billing intelligence, right? When to charge, how much to charge. And more importantly, for a subscription business, trust is essential, right? Where you as a customer want to know that I can stop the subscription at any point I want, right? And I can cancel this. So what ChargeB enables is making it, we bring that power to the hands of the customers by having a self-service portal where you can go in and manage a subscription yourself, where you can pause it, you can cancel it, and do all of that. Right? So that essentially the subscription management piece and payments is what ChargeB powers for businesses around the world.
Oh man, you've just planted a whole seed for me there. The Tech Blog Writer subscription box merch. That's got to happen now in the future, hasn't it? Now you've planted that seed.
You should try that. You should.
Now, you've also recently announced that you're expanding your international operations and have located your European headquarters over in Amsterdam. So why now the emphasis on Europe? And what was it that made Amsterdam? What made you choose Amsterdam for your headquarters?
It's a company built out of Chennai, right? But we have always had a global outlook. From the beginning, one of the key factors for us in terms of how we thought about the product was to build it. How do we build a product that enables our customers also to go global day one, right? Multi-currency, multiple payment methods, multiple languages are all essential components that we baked into our product. So, and our marketing has always been inbound, which is permission driven. People discover us and they sign up online and buy our product. So essentially, with that as the base, our customer base has been more than 50% in North America, more than 35% from Europe, and the rest in APAC region, right? Asia Pacific, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, and this part of the world. So Europe is one of our fastest growing markets, and some of the SaaS, amazing SaaS businesses like Sendinblue and Team Leader and Rapid Tender, which is actually UK-based business, right? Fantastic founders who are building I'll talk about Rapid Tender a little later. But many of these fast-growing SaaS businesses that are taking on the world leaders are ChargeB customers, and it is important that we build our service closer to where our customers are. Is one of the objectives, right? So when we raise capital from Inside Venture Partners last year, along with Axel and Tiger, one of the mandates was to build closer to our customers and continue scaling the business is what we took on. And with that in perspective, in the last 12 months, we have scaled our business, and now we would like to build our presence in Europe closer to the customers. And why Amsterdam? I think it's, I hear, right? I've never personally visited Amsterdam, but VP of Sales Jermaine Briand is from Europe. He's French American, and most of a lot of our Insight portfolio, right? Our investors' portfolio companies are also based in Amsterdam. We hear that there is a great talent pool, very young crowd, multilingual population, and an emerging technology hub. So we couldn't go wrong picking Amsterdam as a location, and we are very excited to see how we can build it out. And more importantly, I learned that Amsterdam Embassy has a beautiful program for global companies to build from anywhere in the world. And they are assisting us with setting up the office in Amsterdam, which was phenomenal, right? So right from sitting out of Chennai, now we have assistants available to set up the office in Amsterdam, which was like mind-blowing. So a lot more reasons to build it there.
And looking towards the future, I mean, what's your overall vision for ChargeB in the next few years? Is there anything else you can share with us about your plans?
We started off building the way we like to think about ChargeB is that if a business owner is able to forget that ChargeB exists, actually we are doing our job really well, right? Because we are an infrastructure layer. And if they are noticing, there must be something wrong, right? And with that in perspective, the way we are imagining we should be building, continue to build the business is like the AWS, Amazon Web Service for the world. We want to be able to build ChargeB as an infrastructure and financial layer for subscription businesses around the world, right? That's basically is how we like to think about it. And hopefully we'll be able to power a lot more businesses around the world with this vision.
And as you're right in the heart of this space, are there any trends that you're noticing, either in SaaS or subscription businesses, that maybe you could share with the audience, and the kind of problems that your clients are coming to you and asking for your help with? Are there any trends there too?
Absolutely, right. I don't want to bore you all with e-commerce subscriptions or software as a service, right? But I think one trend that I see I'm very fascinated by is vertical SaaS. We call that vertical SaaS. What I mean by that is, if you check the website called Rapid Tender, right? RAPID, Tender, TENDER. This is a vertical SaaS business where they offer technology-driven software and services for construction industry. And the story is fascinating. They are in the outskirts of London, and they have been a ChargeB customer for over 5 years. Two New Zealand founders, right? I think they were classmates from third grade in New Zealand. And at some point in life, their paths diverged. One person went on to become an electrical consultant, right? Electrician. The other person went on to take up software. Right? And eventually they emigrated from New Zealand to UK, and then they met in London a few years back. And they hit it off. And what they realized was there is so much broken about software in the construction industry. And they were like, okay, what if we could actually create this cloud software to enable bidding for construction industry? And that started off as a business, right? And they are a beautifully built bootstrap company serving amazing brands around the world. Especially based in Europe, but serving the global customer base. Now, the reason I'm saying the story is that the beautiful trend that I'm seeing in SaaS is vertical SaaS, where any niche that is imaginable, any problem that you deeply understand, right? There is a huge opportunity to go solve this in very interesting ways, and now that is happening from everywhere in the world, but serving global markets, right? That is something fascinating to me, looking at it from our vantage point, which is like a box seat to look at so many founders building these amazing companies from around the world.
And for anyone listening that's on their own startup journey, and they could be at various stages of that, and it is a roller coaster journey of tremendous highs and tremendous lows, is there any advice that you've picked that you could pass on that you've learned along the way?
I would say, as a first-time founder, right, my advice would be prioritize growth across the board, right? Because I come from a software engineering world, and it takes time to actually understand the business side of things, where you need to put a marker and say, we want to hit this number, right? And there is a very good reason why a lot of people actually advise that prioritize growth, everything else, because growth creates a constraint for you to sharpen your focus for all the other things that you do with your business, right? Who do you build for, right? And how am I going to grow this business? And every feature that you build will be fine-tuned towards this customer, and it is extremely important. So if there is one advice, especially in the early days, my recommendation would be prioritize growth over everything else and allow that to lead the way to building the right business. Because the fun is in the journey, but at the same time, you don't want to be building something without customers, right? So my advice would be to prioritize growth over everything else and use that as a guiding light through your startup journey.
Fantastic. And before I let you go, could I just ask that you point the listeners in the direction of your website, your social channels, and equally how they can reach or contact a member of your team if they are left with any additional questions after listening to our conversation today?
Absolutely. If you would like to, right, even for you, if you want to debate about which business cannot be a subscription business, let's talk about it. Right? I believe that every type of business can be a subscription business. So you can reach us on Twitter at ChargeBee, ChargeBee. And if you would like to, if you prefer email, it's support@chargebee.com. Right? We don't have any restriction as to who can write to our customer support. So feel free to write through email. Our website is chargebee.com.
At the moment, I'm reading more and more about the subscription economy and how all businesses need to start thinking about that. And early adopters could immediately start thinking, well, we need a piece of this and we need to get involved with the subscription economy. But then as soon as they delve a little bit deeper, they start coming into problems such as, well, who stores the data and billing issues and PCI compliance, and then that can quickly put a damper on anybody's spirits. But what I love about what you're doing here is you're removing all those problems and making it incredibly easy for anybody to have that kind of business. So I think it's a fantastic thing what you're doing. But more than anything, just a big thank you for coming on and sharing that story with me today. Thanks, Krish.
Thank you so much. It was fun chatting with you. Thank you.
I always try and learn something from every guest. And this week, I've been tempted to launch my own yoga pants merch after chatting with the guys at Simpress a few days ago. And now Chargebee have opened my eyes into just how easy it can be to create your own subscription business. And I loved hearing the story that began with 4 friends just wanting to start a company in India. But then doing that and expanding to Amsterdam and positioning that company to meet all the challenging needs of European clients who want to adhere to those increasing regulated set of standards, as well as helping them scale beyond that region. And in doing so, removing those hassles opens up the market to everyone. And for me, this is incredibly exciting. So do you have any thoughts on the rise of the subscription economy and how your business or yourself can leverage that? And when it comes to subscription businesses, have you seen any good or any bad examples, and what to or what not to do? So this is where I invite you to my website, techblogwriter.co.uk, and you can find links to today's podcast, and also links to all the topics that we talked about, such as social channels, the book subscribed. And if you scroll right down to the bottom, you can also email me, tweet me, get me on Instagram, or even connect on LinkedIn. And as always, I'm really fascinated into your insights and your thoughts around the subscription economy over ownership. So a big thank you to Krish for taking the time out of his busy day to come and join us today and share his story. And last but by no means least, a huge thank you to each and every one of you for not only tuning into this podcast every day, but you've made it to the end of an episode, which makes me very happy too. So a big thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.